Welcome to the first episode of the Billion Dollar Broker podcast. My name is Ross Lacane. I'm bringing my 25 years industry experience together with the top brokerages and brokers in the country to give you the insights on how to grow a profitable mortgage broking business that you are proud of. Today, we have the CEO, Darren Little, from the award-winning Smartmove joining me. All right, well, here we are. We've got Darren Little with us. Welcome to the Billion Dollar Broker podcast. How you doing, Darren?
Fantastic, Ross. How are you this morning?
Good. Well, there's so much happening at the moment in the world with this corona, and as an award-winning manager of one of the leading broking businesses.
Yeah, look, I think, Ross, it's been very much about planning. Whilst a lot of the time when you look at business continuity planning and that, it's stuff you always think it's in the bottom drawer. And, we own a business overseas in the Philippines. It does our operations, does all our processing. And, probably a big part of our planning, was 12, 18 months ago up there. What happens if an event occurred? We didn't think of a virus. We were thinking more of a natural disaster up there, such as, an earthquake or something. But we'd put processes in place to be able to relocate our team members. And that was actually to another site a couple of 100 kilometres north of Manila. However, with the virus, that site has actually got more corona issues up there than Metro Manila. So we had to go to plan B of our BCP, and that was actually to relocate our team members. And when the president declared up there the lockdown for 30 days, we were able to instigate that plan that night and start getting the team ready. So we lost a day's production with our processing and that on Friday last week. However, by Saturday around lunchtime, we had everyone fully operational again and processing files and being able to support our customers, which at this time is really critical. So it was that planning that we sort of did 12, 18 months ago that really allowed that seamless transition. Come Monday morning, I think if I didn't tell any of our team in Australia that we were operational and we had the impacts, I don't think anyone would have noticed that sort of thing. So we're in good shape there, but it does come back to that planning and then I suppose grabbing the listening to the governments of the time and that sort of thing, and just pulling that trigger and not being afraid to pull the trigger. I think sometimes when people hesitate and wait, that's when they they miss the opportunity. So for us, being able to operate up there Monday without hesitation, I know there's a lot of other businesses up there at the moment that are still trying to figure out how to buy laptops and internets and that sort of thing. So now we're in good shape.
Yeah, and that's great. And one of the things that I've got with our personal chats is around the importance of those contingency plans. A basic one you mentioned to me the other day was that you have laptops ready to go in the cupboard. So if anyone has an IT issue, which we all have all the time, that there's no downtime. It's just plug and play. You get the new one out of the cupboard and go from there. So that's some simple things that any brokers could do, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, we don't go out and buy brand new laptops just to sit in the cupboard. But what we do is make sure when we do recycle the laptops, instead of perhaps just taking home for personal use or give them to the kids or something, what we do is we strip them back, make sure they've got all the current operating systems and they are ready to go. Only yesterday, we closed our offices in Sydney down yesterday and sort of gone to a work from home policy, and we found that one of the team members working at home, one of the ports on his laptop was not working, so his screens at home wouldn't work because he didn't have a docking station. So we could actually just within about half an hour we could have him up and running on a reused laptop, I'll say, and he was up and running without very minimal impact. So that's probably one of the big things that we try to do is keep our brokers focused on the customer so they can do the best thing there. And we suppose our approach is put the business around them to support them, with whether it be technology support, that type of thing, so we can focus on the customer.
Definitely. And so obviously it's really important to be calm in this environment. And so how are you holding up through all of this?
Oh, look, I think probably I was only saying to one of my business partners this morning, I think probably focused is the word at the moment. And I think communicating over the top at the moment. Like, every morning I've sort of been giving a summary to the team in email, making sure we're communicating with everyone. It is about being calm. Absolutely, there's no point in panicking at the moment. There's enough panic in the Woolworths shopping centres at the moment, isn't there? I went for a walk this morning. I thought I did some work. I went for a walk and I called into Woolies this morning at 8 o'clock. What a wrong decision that was. That's panic. But it is about being clear on what we're trying to achieve. And, for us as a business, we've got, a large amount of team members that,
What is the size of your team for everyone?
Just under 50 at the moment, Ross. So, there's a lot of, variety, and there's a lot of emotions there. Some people, work on a regular basis at home, some others don't. And, it was great. We did a compliance, we're still trying to run business as usual. So, yesterday, 10 a.m. Wednesday is compliance meeting. So we still ran our compliance meeting yesterday. We did that via Microsoft Teams. Everyone was on there. But, it's just great sort of just seeing where everyone's where they're operating from, but also then just making sure that they're not just sitting at their computer all day either, sort of thing, making sure they are getting out for a walk or going for a jog or something like that. Because one of the strong points about Smartmove has been the way we collaborate as a team. We run big offices, where there's a lot of people in them, there's a lot of collaboration. So we're putting in place, morning, chats with everyone online. We've got lots of different sort of social media, trying to just keep a bit of fun, keep it alive, Ross. It's really important that when we go from a big office environment to really working from home, they still know that as a team, we're still one team and we work together.
Oh, exactly. I was just chatting to Mario at Pepper, and he was saying a similar sort of thing, right? So if someone's happier, making phone calls, walking along the beach, or, doing their things, and you don't, the beauty of having that remote work access is you don't need to be tied to your desk. If you find that you can focus better and work on some key tasks at a cafe, or it's about doing the things that you enjoy. You're not a prisoner to your home.
Yeah, and I think for the guys now in the Philippines, we're about a week in up there. For the guys in Australia, it's very early, but I think we've got to keep a really close eye on all the teams, across the countries, just to make sure that, it's, probably a bit of a new habit for some of the guys, but, what's it look like in a week's time? What does it look in 2 weeks' time? Because, who knows how long this is going to last for. So we want to make sure that what we are doing with the team, it is sustainable. And that's really key. And, that's, when we sort of talk technology and that, some of our bank business partners are amazing how they've gone electronic with documents and that, but some of them still require us to print a document and that sort of thing. So, we've had to put things in place there. And, once again, it's the work that we did 18 months ago with the technology, allowing, you can print from home into the office sort of thing. And just little things like that we can still do to keep the business moving for the customers. The customers still have needs today. They may be a little bit different to they were a couple of weeks ago, but they're still needing stuff.
So what are you finding with the conversations that your brokers are having with the clients? Because you said your phone's been running hot. So give me an example of what are some of the conversations you've been having.
Look, it's been really varied, Ross. We've still got customers buying and that. So that's sort of business as usual stuff. Probably the stuff that is new to us is really those hardship conversations. And, there's a lot of customers concerned. There's a lot of customers that, we deal with that may be working in retail. They could be in casual style employment, contract style employment. And there's a lot of concern out there. And, we've next job now is actually straight after this is actually to write to all of our customers today and just talk to them about that we are here to help. We're not here just to write new home loans. We are here to help them navigate, hardship hotlines with the banks, and the banks are fantastic, with what they're offering at the moment, really on the front foot. But we want to be there with our customers to, keep our relationship with them and be that person that can help guide them through this situation. It might be a home loan today that we're helping them with, but I think if we can focus on that, we'll have those lifelong customers that we so crave for.
Brilliant point. It's about, and the thing that I take away from that, it's about the relationship.
Absolutely.
And it's about long term. They want to know that you were there for them during the hard times and you were there during the good times as well. But I think another thing that I just want to say in terms of what you said around those hardship cases, and I think it's really important for everyone to know that to not be scared of their lenders, and for the brokers to be encouraging the customers to have these conversations. I've worked for the big organisations. I've seen the collection teams. I see how they work. They want to talk and have real conversations with real people about the issues that are going on. Whereas if people put their head in the sand and try to avoid them, they'll get the full letter of the law, right? So it's about, and the sooner that us as brokers can get on the front foot and speak to the clients around, well, what can they do to reduce their non-essential expenses? How can they increase their cash flow conversion, about money getting in the door? So really becoming experts on the tips that we can offer to a small business to help them at these times of need, I think is really, really important.
Yeah, can't agree more with that, Ross. And I think that's where, as a broker community, a lot of the stuff that we do get privy to and the access to, we've got to impart that knowledge with our customers. We've got to be able to get on the front foot and start talking to them. Some of the banks, as I said, doing a great job through social media and those sort of things. But, we've got that trusted relationship with those customers, and, we need to be talking to them, and that's certainly as a business, our intent. As I said, we'll start, communicating today. Then we'll start a call program next week with our customers.
Definitely, and it's for somebody like yourself that's got a big loan book, and obviously a big amount of your income comes from that book, and a consideration must be, well, if these clients go into arrears, the bank's going to stop paying me a trailing commission.
Oh, absolutely. Look, and first and foremost is making sure we've got our customers, well placed. And and you're right, Ross. Worst case comes, we don't help the customer today. We don't get them well placed. They are going to go into arrears, and then from a revenue point of view, that's shot anyway. So let's just get on the front foot. That's our approach, and just over communicate at the moment.
Oh, exactly. And I think in terms of looking at that and making sure that your staff you're having these conversations with your staff, because if quite often for a sales guy or whatever, if it's not including new business, they're not interested. So we've got to change that mentality with people, and sort of with that education.
Yeah, look, I think you're right. We're a salaried model, so it's slightly different to perhaps the traditional broker that's on a straight commission and that. But still, the guys, they're so used to writing business and looking after customers and that. So to go more into that caretaker mode is a different philosophy that we've got to work on. And I know my last couple morning emails to the team has been very much around that, Ross. Trying to, we want to make sure we survive through this, but then so we can thrive. And if we've got those customers engaged with us and we're supporting them through that survival piece, and then we can absolutely move on to the opportunity that I'm super confident is going to be there. I'm just not sure when at this stage.
And that is the question. And I think part of what we need to be comfortable as calm leaders is, who knows? Like we've got to be comfortable that we don't know, but what the things that we do know, that in 3 years' time, it's going to be March 2023. And that right now is the best opportunity to pivot and to make the decisions and strategies in our business that are going to put us in the best place to be at March 2023. So it's a lot of the things that you're talking about, that forward planning, not putting our heads in the sand, reaching out to our customers, being proactive, being there for them, having those difficult conversations, and being more of a helpful resource, because a lot of these people are going to be isolated as well, and feel a bit isolated. So how can we be that calming voice for them? So when in 3 years' time, when we're looking back and looking at this like something like SARS or the GFC or whatever, we're in that position where we've got that customer authority, in terms of and we've got that trust and confidence for them to move on with us.
Yeah, look, I think, for me, customer base is key. That's the first thing we've got to make sure we manage through, and that is engaging with our customers. But then, once we sort of start to get into business as usual of this current environment, and we sort of work out what a VOI for some of these bank looks like, and a few things like that, then we can actually start to actually focus on the opportunity ahead, and that. Whilst, look, I'm really fortunate in our business, we've got a great team of brokers that do the day-to-day lending, and that allows us, then we can focus as a leadership team on what that opportunity looks like. Because to your point, not quite sure what it's going to, but with the amount of stimulus and that are getting thrown into the economy, and the interest rates at all-time lows and those sort of things, it's going to bite, and it will bite, I feel, pretty quickly, and that's where we've got to be ready to take that opportunity. You look at, with our operations business and that, and the way we sort of can process loans and that, we've scaled up for scale. We're not backing back on team members over there at the moment. I think we've invested a lot in our people to get them to an amazing standard. And, the easy thing to do, like with this, would be to put your head in the sand and say, look, let's get rid of some team members across the board. What we're really saying is, no, let's make sure we've got them really productive during this time, maybe doing different things, but having them ready to go when the market does turn.
Oh, exactly, and that is fantastic. And for some brokers, it'll mean that they will have to have tough conversations with their staff. But if they might need to reduce salaries or back end a deal with their brokers and saying, look, we'll pay you more once we get out of this, because it's got to be, we've got to create win-win strategies for our staff and our brokers. So moving forward, past that, because they're not going to have many options in terms of where to go over this period of time. So it's about, again, you're big on contingency, but it's about having those contingencies and thinking, well, no, we might not need to have these conversations because business may be okay, but if we've planned and we've had a plan and we've got a thoughtful strategy on what we're going to do and what the options that we can pivot are moving forward, then that is going to make our business a lot more sustainable moving forward, rather than getting to the point and go, oh, crap, I've got no money, I'm going to have to get rid of someone, right? So...
Look, knowing your numbers at the moment is absolutely critical. Cash flow for any business, broker, the local cafe, whatever, but certainly understanding your cash flow is really critical. I think it's a really good point around understanding the opportunity. And I think I look back to February last year when the Royal Commission obviously rolled out their recommendations. As a business, we had quite a few playbooks, the what ifs and that. But one thing we actually made a decision to do is actually sit for 90 days before pulling the lever on anything. So, we knew for 90 days that it was sort of business as usual, keep the team engaged and that, but we didn't want to make a drastic decision because in 90 days a lot can change. And if you sort of look at the day that, the Royal Commission got handed down to, the week later, and how it did change quite quickly. And obviously in that 90 days, then we had the federal election. Now, then it really did change the game sort of thing again. So sometimes I think it's very important to plan, have a very clear focus, but also you don't want to jump at shadows as well. That's a really key thing. I think a lot of time, a lot of businesses, jump to the, whatever's new, but I think sometimes it does take courage to actually just sit back and be well thought out before you do execute on a plan.
Oh, exactly right. And I think that was prudent, as we saw, as you mentioned, back in the GFC. Once the new government got in, the market actually kicked along again, because there was confidence in the market. And, at that point in time, it was doom and gloom. It was 80% chance of Labor, coming into a government. Our trail looked like it was disappearing. But, now we're in a totally different situation that's affecting the whole world and the credit markets of the whole world as well. So totally different environment, but nonetheless we need to see how it's going to play out. We've got a feeling how it may play out, but we've actually got to see how it's going to play out before.
Yeah, and look, I think that to that point, Ross, it's about making sure it's not just one plan you have. It could be plan A, B, and C. depending on how things are going. But the time now to think about that is now. Is to actually start planning for what that could look like, so that you've got some time to think about it and you're well prepared.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And last thing I want to look at is, what do you think of the opportunities in the market?
Look, I think when we sort of come through this, I sort of see from an opportunity point of view. You look at, I suppose, you look globally at other markets with that have gone through regulation and that, and there has been a reduction in broker numbers. There's no question of that. So for me, but the customers still want to deal with brokers. So for us, it's been very much focusing on making sure we've got the right offering with banks. We've got a great spread of banks to provide customers. On average, we use 25 banks a month. Our team, from a productivity point of view, we've got to make sure we can keep improving our processes, our tools for them, so they can improve their productivity, so they can do more business. And that's really where we're seeing the opportunity. We think there'll be potentially less brokers. Our funding's going to potentially be a little bit more challenging in the short term, and that's why I think having a spread of lenders is so critical at this time, because then you have choice. And so opportunity, I'm not sure when this new world will come, but that's certainly our focus, is the productivity. Obviously, with that comes sustainability. That's a couple of key words that we use in our business nearly every day: sustainability and productivity. Because that, if we've got that right, that's going to enable us to take on whatever opportunity is going to present itself.
Exactly. And I've been out, I've seen your guys' business, and I guess one of your strengths, as you mentioned, is that processes, right? Is around, you're very process driven. You've got a structure for every part of your business, and really good contingency plans. So by continuing to do that, and really that's what gives you your strategic advantage, and that's what gives you that repeat customers. And you were saying, you get most of your business from existing customers or referrals at a high level?
About 84%, Ross, last year. So it's a pretty consistent number, sort of in that space. And even like now, like we could be putting head in the sand and sort of say, let's just focus on what we need to do today. But we've had process improvement meetings still this morning with the team. It's we've got to keep on keep it moving along all the time.
Exactly. And I think that's an important, no matter what level you get to, and I see your level of systems and processes pretty good, but the reason it's pretty good is because it constantly evolves. Yeah. And I'm sure you can, but back in my business, a process would work until you broke it, right? Yeah. Until you outgrew it, and then you broke it, and then it's about building again and aiming to break it. So it's that constant, rebuilding, I guess.
Yeah, look, and I think in the environment at the moment, through best interest duty and that sort of coming through, there's, every bank's got a bit of a different play on that. So, the education, when you're using so many banks, that's a weekly event. We've got to get our business partners in, help educate us, not just our brokers, but also our processing and operations team. There's a big commitment, and we're very thankful for our business partners, the way they embrace our approach and of education, because it's got to be a constant learning experience for all of us.
So, yeah, I guess in summary, if I'm to look at it, you create that market authority by looking after your customers and being an expert in that, and really sort of making that communication. Obviously, your leadership is communicating well with all of your team, and you're playing to your strengths and using that time to build on your strengths, which is the systems and processes moving forward.
Yeah, Ross, I think the leadership and the communication, I think one of the other things that we just got to be really mindful as small business owners is to make sure we're communicating with our partners, and whether that be the banks, the settlement agents, they can help dramatically. And if we're communicating with them through this time of change, and it's rapid change at the moment, and whether we speak to a BDM, state manager, national manager, whoever, but communicating what we're doing as a business is really important. as well, because I think, we talk about customers and that, our banks are our customers as well. So we've got to make sure we've got a similar communication strategy with them at the moment.
Exactly. And that's, that information for you, the information that you get from your lenders and your partners provides that clarification in terms of exactly what's happening on the market. It allows you to be on the front foot and provide that to the customers. A saying that I heard that I always go back to is, you don't network to get business, you network to do business. So it's, and these key relationships with, our lenders, the BDMs, credit, these players in the market are helping us at the end of the day do business. So
absolutely, it is. Yeah,
definitely. All right. Any one tip on your final tip on what brokers should focus on moving forward?
Oh, to be honest, Ross, given where we are with this virus, I think stay healthy immediately. That's probably the number one thing. But yeah, look, sort of that aside, I think it is about putting plans in place so that you are looking ahead, not working on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, I've really enjoyed the chat. I mean, there's so much in it for everyone to take from what you guys are doing, and it's no wonder that you guys are a leading brokerage in the country. And after this, we will continue to be, I'm sure. So best of luck through it all, and look forward to catching up soon.
Fantastic, Ross. Thanks for your time today. Much appreciated.